Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. It is me, Desiree, and it is part 2 of yearly favorites. Today is going to be all the blushes, bronzers, and highlighters I loved the most this year. These are products I discovered this year. They're not necessarily new to the market, they might just be new to me, but of course there's a mix of both. Let's just jump into it because there's a ton of products I want to talk about that I loved this year. I did put up my complexion favorites yesterday, so I'll link that in the description box in case you want to check it out. But let's start with highlighters. I only have 3 to mention, but one is a palette. Oh my goodness, this is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork 1 highlighter palette. So 2 versions of this came out. I've got the lighter one, or the one, I guess it's lighter colors, I'm assuming more for lighter skin tones. I freaking love this. I did do a standalone review on this palette. I'll link down below in case you want to check it out. I do swatch them all and try a couple of them on. This palette is so beautiful. I use the heck out of these colors. The only one I don't use a ton of is this coppery one here. It's just a little too copper for my skin tone. But all the other 5, beautiful. They all look so great. So you can go like really soft with these. You can go super heavy. It's just a wonderful palette. A little does go a long way, but it's not in that way where you have to like barely tap your brush and it's too much. Like you still get that satisfaction of dipping your brush in and blending it on. Amazing highlighter palette. This is the only thing I've tried from Danessa Myricks, but this is like a home run product for me. I love it. If you love highlighter and you want a highlighter palette, this is one I would say you can't go wrong. If you're looking at it and you're wondering if it's amazing, it's amazing. I love it. And then the only other 2 highlighters I have here to mention are they're 2 from Milani actually. The Supercharged Highlighter Duo. It looks like this. This one is so pretty. It's like the most beautiful pinky color. Another one that you can go light with or heavy. They say one's a cream and one's a powder, but I honestly don't know the difference. I don't even know which one is supposed to be the cream or the powder. They both feel like powder to me. I tend to just dip the brush in both of them and it is so pretty. It's the nicest little lightest hint of pink to it, but not over the top. Just a little something different. Really beautiful formula. I wanted to buy all of them, of course, but I didn't. And then the other one I'm going to mention is another one from Milani. This is a baked highlighter in the shade, I don't know. It's 110, but there's a sticker there, so I'm not sure what the color is, but it's just 110. Sure, I don't know. It's Dolce something. But this is what it looks like here. This is a beautiful highlighter. This is the one that I have on today. I like this one a lot because it is one of those really pearly kind of white highlights, but it also doesn't have that gray undertone. That undertone, I don't know why it pops up in so many of those light highlighters, but this one doesn't have it. So beautiful. I love this one. I use this one as an inner corner highlight all the time. It's beautiful. I really loved shopping my stash this year for highlighters. So I don't have a ton that I even bought this year as far as highlighters go, but the ones I did get, I love them so much. So a couple of face palettes. Well, I guess a couple of them are face palettes and a couple of them are just blush palettes. But let's get the palette ones out of the way. This is one that I feel is an underrated freaking gem from Pacifica. This is the Cherry Cheek Powders. I got this for Christmas last year and I use the heck out of it. It is so pretty. It comes with 4 blushes. I know these 2 look the same and those 2 look the same on camera, but in real life, I promise you they're different. And they're beautiful, beautiful colors. These are colors I love to use when I'm doing an eye makeup that's like over the top or something and I need a blush that's just a little something on my cheeks, nothing crazy. These are so beautiful. The formula is really pretty. The color is really pretty. You can build them up too. This is another one of those powders. You get that satisfaction of dipping your brush and putting it on. And I love things like that where they're not so pigmented. You can't really do a whole lot with them. This is beautiful, very underrated from Pacifica and one of my most used products this year. Another palette that just a super home run palette for me is from Sephora. This is the Micro Smooth palette and I have the shade here Enchant. I also have another one, but that one is a little deeper of colors, but this is the one I use the most. I have this bronzer on today. It comes with 2 really pretty luminous blushes and a highlighter. They're a baked formula and they are just so good. They're like smooth, they're pigmented, but they're not scary. It's made in Italy. It's so beautiful. Like Sephora hit it out of the park with this formula right here. Really pretty. And when I say they're luminous, they're not like a highlighter type of blushes. They're just not matte. They're really beautiful, I guess, kind of satin. Love these. I love using this palette. Wonderful, wonderful product from Sephora. Another thing that I'm going to say, if you were looking at this and wondering about it, it's good. It's not dry. It's not scratchy. The formula is just like one you want to rub between your fingers. So good. Another blush thing that I was not expecting to love this as much as I do, because the balm for me is hit and miss. Their hits are really good and the misses are real misses. But this palette, real hit. This is the Will Powder Cheek Palette. So it comes with 3 blushes and a highlighter. 2 of the blushes are luminous. One of them looks matte, but I think it is a little bit more satin, or if that's just because some of the shimmer from the other products has fallen into it. I love this one. This highlight is so gorgeous and it goes really well with these 3 blushes. The highlight has like a little tiny pink hint to it. I use this kind of orangey one the most, but this really cool tone pink is really pretty, and so is this one. Another really, really pretty product from the Balm. Of course, their packaging is always so cute. But I love this. I think this is really pretty. I reach for this one all the time. This is one of those ones that they are kind of pigmented, so a little does go a long way. You got to kind of be careful with your brush, but the payoff is so good. They blend so well. They last all day. I love it. And then the last palette I have to mention is from MOB. I don't know if it's MOB or Mob, but I did a video on this palette earlier this year. I made this myself. It's like a custom palette. You kind of pick all the colors yourself on their website. Of course, this is not sponsored or anything like that. I did this on my own with my own money, but I love this. I've never heard of this brand before. I saw them in a magazine recently and I was like, hey, there's that brand. So I have a bronzer, a blush, a highlight, 5 eyeshadows, and their cake eyeliner in here. I love this palette. I use it all the time. You wouldn't really be able to tell because the powders are firmly pressed, with the exception, of course, of the shimmer eyeshadows. They're firmly pressed in here, so it doesn't kick up a ton of powder all over the palette. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit, but it's not like getting all over everything. So a little goes a long way with these as well, but they blend so nicely. They're really pretty. I'm really happy with the quality of this. This was a luxury experience. This palette was very expensive for what it is, but the powders are so good. They're really, really good. If you look into this brand, you don't have to get this big old palette. They do like smaller ones. You could just buy the singles. But I really, really like this. I love the packaging. I think it's really cute, and really happy with that palette. I use it all the time. All right, let's talk about the blushes. I think that's, oh no, there's a couple of bronzers in here. So I didn't know if I had mentioned these before in a yearly favorites, because last year I didn't do a yearly favorites. I did like top 5 purchases from Sephora, Ulta, and drugstore. And I also have no concept of time. I don't know if I bought this highlighter last year or earlier this year, this bronzer I mean, but I'm gonna mention them anyway. So the Tarte Breezy Cream Bronzer in the shade Seychelles. This is one of my all-time favorite cream bronzers. This is the cream bronzer that made me feel like, oh dang, cream bronzer can be good. So this is not the one I use all the time. I actually use the mini all the time, but it is jacked up. Like the packaging is broken, the lid fell off, it's all smeared, it's messy. So I brought you out the full size just for effect. I love this color a lot. It's really pretty. You don't have to be super careful with it. I use a sponge, I use a brush, just dab it all over your face. A little does go a long way with this, but it's not like in a scary way. You don't have to like barely get it. It blends so nicely. I love this bronzer from Tarte a lot. And then the other bronzer I have here is from Fenty, and it is their cream bronzer. I have the shade Macchiato. And this is one that I started using after I bought this one. So I had to have bought this year, right? I don't know. A year is like 10 years. I don't really know. So I started using this after the Tarte one, so I didn't like it as much. But because I had that one I had already loved, and I was like, no, nothing is going to replace it. But this one is so good. It's beautiful. If you find this one to be a little too pigmented or kind of difficult to use, I would go with this one. It is a cream as well, but it blends like a dream. This one I think looks a little more natural than this one, like in the light, in a little bit of a way. What am I trying to say? This one doesn't look unnatural, but this one looks more natural. Does that make any sense? I don't know. It's a beautiful bronzer. It looks very skin-like. A little doesn't go a long way with this. You can build it up forever and never overdo it. It's gorgeous color. I did clean the packaging on this one too because it's very messy. Beautiful, beautiful cream bronzer, and this shade for me is perfection. All right, all I have left are a handful of blushes, of course. Let's talk about these. I have a cream blush, of course, from Fenty. This is another one. I don't know if I bought these this year or last year, but I love these cream blushes from Fenty Beauty. The Cheeks Out Freestyle cream blushes. I think I have 6 of them now. I love them. I just brought out one in the shade Cool Berry, you know, because it's winter, and I love this color. These blushes are so good because they're kind of on the sheer side, but you still get the color that you want, but it's not crazy or over the top. It wears all day. It's really, really pretty. Definitely one of the best cream blushes formulas I've ever used. And when these came out, people were really upset that they weren't as big as the bronzer. Like, people wanted the cream blush to be this big. Like, why would you need that? This bronzer you're putting on your whole face, this you're not. Like, it's perfectly fine in this size. You know, you're not even going to use the whole thing up. It's fine. I love these blushes a lot. Another blush I freaking loved this year is the Believe Beauty Cream Blush. I don't remember the shade, it's come off, but I will list it down below. This is one of the best cream blush formulas I've ever used in my life. I know I just said that about the Fenty one, but this is also one. This color, oh my goodness. I did a look earlier this year. It was like a look of the week video that I did. I don't remember what it was. Was it the video that I said I bought a house? The exciting news? I think it's something like that. That makeup look I did in that video was one of my favorites I did all year. It was really glowy and glossy, and I had this blush on. I just love this color. It's so pretty. It's just the most perfect cockatiel, like orange color. I absolutely love it. I love this blush. It lasts all day. It blends nicely. It's not patchy or anything. For $5, like, how did they do it? It's amazing. And then, of course, I have to mention the 2 Dior Backstage Rosy Glow blushes. I have the shade Pink and the shade Coral. These took my breath away. So I bought this because I had just been really wanting to try them. I got really into the Dior Backstage stuff this year, and I really wanted to buy these blushes. And this color, I mean, it looks awful. It looks awful. I'm just gonna say it. It looks ashy, it looks white, it looks like it'll just be this like too gross of a baby pink color. And when I opened this up, because I got in the car, I opened it and I was like, ugh, I don't like it. When I put this on my face though, there's something magical that happens with this color. It's not an ashy white pink like it looks. It's the most beautiful, rosy, oh, I just love it. I love this color so much. I loved it so much I had to go buy the other one they have in the shade Coral. I mean, the packaging is beautiful as well. Absolutely beautiful packaging. Look at that. This is the shade Coral, another color just like that cream blush here. Just a really beautiful cockatiel orange that I love. This color is so pretty. The formula is really nice. Mix them together. They're so beautiful. Love these a lot. I want them to come out with like a really cool plum, kind of like a powder version of this cream blush I just showed from Fenty. I would love that one. And then the last blush I have to mention is actually the Bare Minerals Blonzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they said these were limited edition. I actually went to Sephora the other day to get another one, and there wasn't any there, but I didn't know if they were just gone or they're actually limited edition. If these are limited edition, this is the craziest thing they've ever done and made it limited edition. They are absolutely beautiful. This is the blush that I'm wearing today. They say you're supposed to use this as like a blush and bronzer, but all 3 shades to me look like blush. But I watched like an instructional video on this, and they say to like sweep it over your nose and like this. And every time I use this, I want to do that. I forgot to do it today, but I loved it because it looks like a little bit of a sunburn or something, and it's so pretty. Such a gorgeous color. I mean, look at that beautiful pattern in there as well. Really beautiful formula. I hope these are not limited edition because, I mean, they would be crazy to do that. These are so good. And I've only seen people say really good things that have tried these. They all love them, as far as I've seen. Is that it? That is it. Those are all of the blush, bronzers, and highlights I loved the most this year that I discovered this year. Let me know if you've tried any of these. What has your experience been? I would love to know. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I will see you tomorrow for, what's in that bin? Oh, eyeshadows, mascaras, eyeliners, all the eye stuff tomorrow. So yeah, I'll see you then. Goodbye.